Emotions, our most primal, unpredictable forces, are often seen as chains that bind us, making us vulnerable to manipulation and defeat. But what if mastering these very emotions is the key to seizing absolute power? Machiavelli knew that rulers who controlled their feelings wielded a weapon far deadlier than armies or gold. Have you ever wondered why some leaders remain unshaken in the face of chaos, while others crumble under pressure? The secret lies in emotional mastery, the ability to command your inner world so thoroughly that it commands the outer world in return. In this video, we will uncover how controlling your emotions unlocks unparalleled influence and authority. Prepare to learn the psychological secrets that transform feelings from liabilities into your fiercest allies in the ruthless game of power. In the relentless struggle for power, emotions are often viewed as weaknesses, unpredictable forces that cloud judgment and invite vulnerability. Yet beneath this misconception lies a profound truth. Emotions are the lifeblood of influence, the hidden currents that dictate the rise and fall of leaders. To master power, one must first master emotions, not suppress them, but understand and harness their true role in human dynamics. Emotions shape every decision, every alliance, every betrayal. Fear, pride, anger, and desire run beneath the surface of political maneuvers and personal interactions alike. They are invisible architects of behavior, molding perceptions and guiding actions in ways that logic alone cannot explain. Those who recognize this power gain an unparalleled advantage, able to navigate not only their own emotional terrain, but also to anticipate and influence the feelings of others. Machiavelli, the quintessential strategist, intuited this centuries ago. He understood that rulers who control their own emotions wield a far mightier weapon than those who rely solely on brute force or fear. Emotional mastery breeds calm in chaos, clarity in confusion, and authority that commands both respect and obedience. The emotional state of a leader broadcasts messages louder than words. Anger can intimidate rivals, but may also alienate allies. Composure in crisis reassures followers and unsettles opponents. The true art lies in wielding emotions as tools, choosing precisely when to reveal strength or vulnerability to manipulate perceptions and outcomes. Emotions are also contagious. A leader's mood can sweep through a crowd like wildfire, transforming hesitation into courage or unity into discord. The ability to manage this emotional contagion turns a leader into a conductor of collective will, shaping the very atmosphere of power. However, emotions cut both ways. Unchecked feelings can unravel authority, exposing cracks in the armor. Displays of frustration or insecurity invite challenges, while emotional coldness risks disconnecting those whose loyalty sustains power. The delicate balance is found in emotional regulation, the conscious control that blends authenticity with strategic restraint. This regulation does not mean repression. Rather, it is the mastery of when and how to express emotions to serve your aims. It allows leaders to flexibly adapt, showing empathy to build trust, or cold resolve to deter threats. Power is at its core an emotional ecosystem. Success depends on awareness and control of this invisible force. Leaders who master this realm don't merely survive, they dominate, turning emotional intelligence into the foundation of absolute power. As we move forward, prepare to explore why mastering your emotions is more crucial than raw strength in the pursuit of dominance. The next section will reveal how emotional control is the battlefield where true power is won or lost. In the brutal arena of power, raw strength, be it physical force, wealth, or sheer numbers, often dazzles at first glance. Yet history teaches us a far deeper lesson. Those who master their emotions wield a far more devastating weapon than brute force. Emotional mastery is the hidden edge that transforms ordinary leaders into legends, shaping destinies where strength alone falters. Why does emotional mastery outshine raw strength? Because power is fundamentally about influence, and influence flows through perception, relationships, and decision-making, all arenas governed by emotion. Physical might can intimidate, but it cannot inspire loyalty or strategic obedience. Without emotional control, strength becomes reckless, unstable, and ultimately self-defeating. Machiavelli's writings emphasize that a ruler's ability to conceal fears, doubts, and passions ensures he remains unpredictable and commanding. An emotionally masterful leader never reveals weakness that adversaries can exploit. Instead, they project calm confidence, a psychological fortress that repels attacks and commands respect. Consider historical figures like Julius Caesar or Queen Elizabeth II. Neither relied solely on armies or wealth. Their emotional discipline allowed them to navigate treacherous political landscapes with grace and precision. Caesar's ability to inspire his troops in the face of danger and Elizabeth's stoic composure amid court intrigues exemplify emotional mastery's supremacy over raw power. Moreover, emotional mastery provides resilience. Leaders with steady nerves withstand crises that shatter less disciplined foes. Their capacity to regulate fear, anger, and impatience enables clear-headed decisions under pressure. This resilience becomes a beacon for followers, fostering trust and cohesion. Conversely, raw strength without emotional control often breeds arrogance and impulsiveness. History is replete with mighty conquerors undone by rashness or emotional blindness. Strength without strategy and emotional intelligence is like a raging storm, powerful but ultimately destructive to its own cause. Emotional mastery also enhances strategic thinking. It allows leaders to anticipate reactions, manipulate dynamics subtly, and time their moves perfectly. Rather than reacting to events, they create events, steering outcomes with deliberate psychological influence. This superiority is why Machiavelli placed great emphasis on self-control as the cornerstone of effective rulership. To command others, one must first command oneself. Reflect in your own life. Where has emotional control helped you navigate challenges more successfully than sheer force? How might strengthening this skill reshape your influence and authority? Next, we will delve into powerful historical examples of leaders who exemplified this mastery. Figures whose emotional discipline cemented their place in history's annals of power. Throughout history, a select few leaders have demonstrated that true power lies not just in armies or wealth, but in the mastery of one's own emotions. These figures, revered and feared alike, embody the profound impact emotional control has on shaping destiny. Take, for instance, Napoleon Bonaparte. Known for his military genius and relentless ambition, Napoleon's success was deeply rooted in his ability to remain emotionally composed under immense pressure. On the battlefield and in political arenas, his calm demeanor unnerved enemies and inspired unwavering loyalty among his troops. Even in the face of defeat, Napoleon's stoic control of emotion allowed him to negotiate, strategize, and influence outcomes far beyond his physical capabilities. Similarly, Queen Elizabeth ruled England during a time of religious strife and political uncertainty. Her famously measured responses and deliberate use of emotional restraint projected strength and stability. Elizabeth's ability to mask personal fears and doubts from her court and adversaries enabled her to navigate treacherous waters, maintaining power for decades. Her emotional mastery cultivated respect and deterred challenges to her reign. Then there is Abraham Lincoln, whose leadership during America's Civil War was marked by profound emotional intelligence. Lincoln understood the fears and hopes of a divided nation, harnessing his empathy and calm resolve to unify and lead effectively. His ability to balance personal sorrow with public duty exemplifies how emotional control can inspire resilience and determination in times of crisis. On the darker side, consider figures like Joseph Stalin, whose ruthless emotional detachment facilitated brutal control over millions. While his tyranny was horrific, it underscores how emotional suppression and calculated coldness can become tools of power, albeit ones that breed fear rather than respect. These historical leaders reveal a common thread. Emotional control is a critical lever in wielding influence. They teach us that power is not simply seized by force, but maintained through the regulation of one's internal world and the strategic management of outward expression. By studying their lives, we see that emotional mastery can inspire loyalty, command respect, and enable strategic flexibility. Whether through empathy, stoicism, or calculated detachment, these leaders shaped events and people by mastering their emotions first. Reflect on these examples. What lessons do they hold for your own journey in mastering emotions and seizing power? How might your leadership transform by harnessing the same discipline and awareness? In the next section, we will explore the common emotional pitfalls that undermine power and how to avoid them, ensuring your ascent is not sabotaged by your own feelings. In the relentless pursuit of power, emotions can either be your greatest ally or your most dangerous adversary. Many leaders fall not because of external enemies, but due to internal failings, emotional pitfalls that sabotage their authority and erode influence. Recognizing and avoiding these traps is essential to mastering your emotions and securing absolute power. One of the most pervasive pitfalls is impulsiveness. When leaders act on raw emotion, anger, frustration, or fear, they risk making decisions that are short-sighted and damaging. Impulsive actions often betray vulnerability and uncertainty, inviting opposition and diminishing respect. Machiavelli warned that rulers who are driven by passion rather than reason are doomed to fail, as their unpredictability destabilizes their rule. Closely related is the tendency toward overexposure of emotions. Displaying too much vulnerability, whether through visible anxiety or excessive openness, can be exploited by rivals. While authenticity is valuable, unchecked, emotional transparency can signal weakness, undermining the carefully crafted image of control necessary for leadership. Another dangerous pitfall is emotional suppression, which paradoxically can also weaken power. Leaders who completely disconnect from their feelings risk alienation and loss of empathy, eroding trust among followers. Genuine connection requires a balance, enough emotional presence to inspire loyalty, yet enough detachment to remain strategic. Pride and hubris represent another emotional trap. Overconfidence can blind leaders to threats and counsel, leading to reckless overreach. History is littered with examples of powerful figures undone by arrogance, failing to recognize the limits of their influence and the value of restraint. Fear itself, if unmanaged, can cripple leadership. Rather than harnessing fear as a tool, succumbing to it breeds paranoia, indecision, and oppressive control that fractures trust. Machiavelli emphasized that while fear is useful, it must never cross into hatred or desperation, which erode the very foundations of power. Finally, inconsistent emotional signaling confuses allies and enemies alike. When a leader oscillates between warmth and coldness, decisiveness and hesitation, it creates uncertainty and instability. Consistency in emotional expression fosters predictability, an often underestimated component of authority. Avoiding these pitfalls requires rigorous self-awareness and discipline. Emotional mastery is an ongoing practice demanding reflection, honest assessment, and adjustment. Leaders who cultivate mindfulness, seek counsel, and embrace humility are better equipped to navigate the emotional complexities of power. Remember, power is not a static prize, but a dynamic process. Emotional pitfalls are not failures, but opportunities for growth and recalibration. By confronting these challenges head-on, you strengthen your resilience and enhance your capacity to command. As we move forward, the next section will introduce practical techniques to develop unshakable emotional mastery tools to transform vulnerabilities into strengths and sharpen your influence in any arena. Prepare to arm yourself with the strategies that separate fleeting authority from lasting dominion. Mastering your emotions is not a mystical gift bestowed upon a chosen few. It is a skill forged through intentional practice and unwavering discipline. Machiavelli understood that rulers who controlled themselves first held the greatest advantage in the game of power. Today, these timeless principles translate into practical techniques that anyone can adopt to seize absolute power through emotional mastery. The foundation of emotional control begins with self-awareness. Recognizing your emotional triggers, those moments when fear, anger, or impatience surge, is critical. This awareness creates a pause, a gap between stimulus and response, where conscious choice can override reflexive reaction. Journaling meditation, or simply mindful reflection, can sharpen this internal radar, turning chaotic impulses into strategic tools. Next, emotional regulation techniques, such as controlled breathing and cognitive reframing, help transform raw emotions into constructive energy. When stress peaks, deep, slow breaths engage the parasympathetic nervous system, calming the physiological storm. Reframing challenges as opportunities or threats as manageable puzzles shifts your mindset from victimhood to mastery. Another powerful method is mental rehearsal, visualizing high-pressure scenarios and practicing calm, decisive responses. Athletes and leaders alike use this to prepare their minds for real-world stress, making poise and clarity automatic under fire. This practice builds neural pathways that rewire your brain for resilience, ensuring that when chaos strikes, you remain the calm eye of the storm. Detachment is also essential, the ability to observe your emotions without being consumed by them. This is not cold indifference, but strategic distance, allowing rational analysis to guide decisions. Machiavelli's ideal ruler is a master of detachment, balancing empathy with calculated objectivity. Additionally, cultivating patience fortifies emotional strength. Power is not won in haste, but through deliberate, measured actions. Patience enables you to wait for the perfect moment to act, to resist provocation, and to maintain control when others succumb to impulsiveness. Socially active listening and empathy enhance your emotional influence. Understanding others' feelings and perspectives enables you to navigate interpersonal dynamics, skillfully building alliances and diffusing conflict. Emotional mastery includes not only controlling your own feelings, but reading and responding to the emotions of others. Finally, consistent self-discipline is the backbone of emotional mastery. Regularly practicing these techniques, reflecting on your emotional patterns, and seeking feedback from trusted advisors cultivates a leadership style marked by unwavering composure and strategic insight. Remember, Machiavelli's lessons were not just about external conquest, but internal dominion. The greatest leaders wield power first over themselves, their fears, desires, and impulses, before commanding others. As you integrate these practices, watch how your presence shifts. You become more than a figure of authority. You become a force that moves others not through intimidation, but through undeniable emotional command. In our final section, we will explore how to integrate emotional mastery fully into your leadership style, transforming knowledge into enduring influence. Mastering your emotions is a profound journey, but true power emerges only when emotional mastery becomes an intrinsic part of your leadership identity. It's not enough to control your feelings in isolated moments. You must weave this control into the very fabric of how you lead, influence, and inspire others. Emotional mastery integrated into leadership means embodying a presence that radiates calm confidence and unwavering authority. It means your decisions, communications, and actions reflect a balance between empathy and strategic detachment. Your emotional steadiness becomes a beacon that guides teams through uncertainty, a shield against the chaos that threatens to unravel control. Leaders who embody this integration understand that power is as much about perception as reality. Your emotional regulation shapes how others see you, whether as a dependable anchor in turbulent times or a reactive force prone to instability. Consistency in emotional expression builds trust and respect, essential currencies in any leadership dynamic. This integration requires continuous self-reflection. Regularly assess how your emotional responses impact your relationships and decision-making. Seek feedback, remain open to growth, and be willing to adjust behaviors that undermine your authority or connection with others. Emotional mastery is not a destination, but a lifelong practice. Moreover, integrate emotional mastery with your vision and values. Authentic leadership arises when your emotional control aligns with a clear sense of purpose and ethical standards. This alignment ensures that your influence is not only effective, but also sustainable, inspiring genuine loyalty rather than fear or obligation. Consider how your emotional leadership affects organizational culture. A leader who models emotional mastery fosters resilience, psychological safety, and collaborative strength. This ripple effect magnifies your impact, creating environments where innovation and loyalty thrive. Historical greats, from Nelson Mandela's compassionate resilience to Angela Merkel's steady pragmatism, demonstrate the transformative power of integrated emotional mastery. Their leadership styles are testaments to how controlling emotions enriches strategic vision and human connection simultaneously. As you commit to this path, remember that setbacks and emotional challenges are inevitable. What defines a master leader is the ability to recover, learn, and maintain composure despite adversity. Each trial strengthens your command over emotions and enhances your capacity to wield power wisely. In closing, emotional mastery is not just a tool, but the cornerstone of absolute power. It empowers you to navigate complexities, influence profoundly, and lead authentically. By making emotional control central to your leadership, you become a force that others cannot ignore or undermine. Thank you for embarking on this journey. If you found these insights valuable, please like, comment, and subscribe for more deep explorations into the art of power and influence. Stay tuned for our next video, where we will unravel another essential strategy for mastering human nature and commanding your destiny. Mastering your emotions is the gateway to absolute power. It is not about suppressing feelings, but commanding them, transforming passion into precision, chaos into clarity. In a world where emotions often dictate outcomes, those who govern their inner world rise above the fray and shape reality itself. Remember, emotional mastery is a continuous journey of self-awareness, discipline, and growth. It empowers you to lead with authority, inspire loyalty, and navigate adversity with unwavering calm. If this journey resonated with you, share your thoughts below. Like and subscribe for more insights into the art of influence and leadership. Our exploration continues, soon delving deeper into the psychological strategies that forge true power. Until then, control your emotions, seize your destiny.